Okay, hey guys, welcome. Today kicks off our week 1 of our book study, which I'm super pumped about. If you don't have your book, totally fine. It'll come in the mail and you can catch back up. So this week we were coming prepared to the call with basically two chapters. The introduction, why you should choose network marketing, and also it's not really the chapter, it's called Power Number 1, Growth. So we're going to talk about John Maxwell's Power of 5, and he goes through 5 powers plus the intro. And I don't know about you, but I underlined so many sections and parts I thought was so valuable. So Justin's actually going to help me talk about the first section, because this is his jam. Because he's so you want to share a chair with me?
Here, I got to share a seat with her because Madeline locked her bedroom door, so I can't get her chair out because she's hiding stuff from her brothers. So that's where we are. So I just got a few minutes. I'm going to hop on here, and then I got to bounce out because we have a lot of balls in the air right now, and we've got kids somewhere, and it's insane. So anyway, network marketing. So I have not read this chapter, I'll be honest with you, but I was a complete skeptic about this industry, 4 or 5 years ago. And it wasn't because I had a lot of knowledge. It was actually the opposite. We tend to hate the things we don't understand. And I just didn't understand network marketing. And a couple of people that I heard talk about it had spoke negatively of it. So I just adopted what I heard them say, and I thought, well, this industry is just a joke, until I started doing research. It wasn't until we fell in love with these products, and then I started to think, what is this industry? What is this business? And I started to do a lot of research on network marketing, and really what I found was absolutely incredible. The 2 friends I had listened to, who were broke, by the way, their perspective of network marketing was shaded for many different reasons, but I found out that they were wrong. And really what I found was that network marketing is an incredible industry. I think that network marketing, I personally believe now that everybody should be in a network marketing company. One, because, well, for many different business reasons, but the skill sets that you can acquire by being in network marketing, learning how to hear the word no over and over and over again can do amazing things for your character. And it can teach you a lot. And so that's one thing. The network you create of friends, of acquaintances, of people that you would have never met before, just different networks you get to be a part of by being in network marketing is incredible. Who knows what doors will open up as a result of being in a network marketing company. Other things with network marketing, I think, is you don't have to go to school and get a degree in network marketing. And that's a beautiful thing. Anybody can do network marketing. It doesn't matter if you've been to school. It doesn't matter if you haven't been to school. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a nurse. It doesn't matter if you're in the Army. Anybody can take part in network marketing. And the cool thing is, because everybody has a network and everybody has influence. So a couple other things with network marketing is you're starting a business when you go into network marketing. And I think that's what some people don't understand with Plexus, is that with your Plexus business, you are a business owner. Mm-hmm. It just looks different than the picture we have in our mind about what business ownership is. We have this picture a lot of times of a retail store, something big and bulky that costs a lot of money to start and a lot of risk. Mm-hmm. Network marketing is basically zero risk. And with Plexus, it's even better because we don't carry an inventory. So now it's $39.95. It was $34.95. So it went up $5, so the business opportunity went up $5 a year, okay. So that's another beautiful thing. You don't have to have a brick and mortar store. You don't have to have employees. You don't have to have all these things that the typical business model has. And really, the sky's the limit with network marketing. Let me rephrase that. Depending on your company's compensation plan. Fortunately for us, our compensation plan is amazing. And here's one thing I'll say, I think about our compensation plan that is better than most. A lot of network marketing companies have all the money is at the top end of the pay scale. That's the top end of the rank structure. The cool thing about Plexus is for top earners in Plexus, that's actually pretty low in the network marketing industry. And one of the reasons is because a lot of it is spread out from silver all the way through. So what you can make in Plexus, even right off the bat from silver and gold, is really pretty much unheard of in a lot of other companies. So it's spread out all the way through the ranks. So you can see a return, you know, on your $39.95 investment pretty close if you start working your business right away. What else? Definition.
So I thought we should talk about the difference. I know John Maxwell was talking about the difference, or just the definition, not the difference between network marketing and direct sales. He was kind of grouping them together, but we kind of view them as different, not exactly the same thing. So can you talk a little bit about network marketing versus direct sales?
Well, I'm not arguing with John Maxwell at all. I haven't read it, so I'll just give you my definition. Just do with it what you want. But from my perspective, with Plexus, we both have a direct sales component and we have a network marketing component also. Our direct sales component would be like your customers, and then your ambassadors would be your network marketing component. The difference is with a customer, you're just exchanging. The only thing is you're exchanging money for product. That's really the only difference. With an ambassador, there's more of a team building, network building organization going on. So that's really the difference.
And with network marketing, you have the opportunity and the potential to have actually exponential sales versus the customer is just boom, customer. And actually, like you were saying this morning, wholesale ambassadors could maybe fall under that column of actually direct sales because they're not growing teams under them.
Well, and also with network marketing, there's a great book out by Robert Kiyosaki called called The Business of the 21st Century, and it's all about network marketing. It's excellent. But basically, you see how a lot of retail stores are closing, and Amazon has come in and has changed the face of sales, maybe forever. I mean, you see retail stores closing one after another, shopping malls closing one after another, yet these companies are not necessarily going under. They're actually making more than they've ever made. Why? Because they got rid of the big, bulky store model and they're moving online. So that's one thing. I would also say that network marketing, if you do some research, network marketing does really good in recessions. So network marketing is kind of recession proof. A lot of times they have their biggest booms during a recession, during a down economy, because people are looking for work.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting aspect. So I think it's the right industry.
Do you have to be desperate in order to join a network marketing company?
No, you don't have to be. No, it would help if you weren't desperate. But it depends if you're desperate or if you're hungry. That's two different things. I'd say if you're hungry, it's a great place to be. If you're desperate, people will smell you from a mile away.
I was just thinking of the perspective that there's titans of the business world like Donald Trump, Robert Kiyosaki, Warren Buffett, who else? I don't even know.
Yeah.
But they're like they give a thumbs up on network marketing because you basically have the opportunity to create a passive stream of income, meaning you get paid even though you're not actually putting hour for hour work in. You do in the beginning.
Right.
For sure.
Right. And there's really no ceiling. There's no, like the job I had before Plexus was a great job. I was thankful for. I gave thanks every day for it, but I was at the top. There was no. I wasn't going any farther. And with network marketing, there really is no end. It just keeps going. It can go as far as you want to take it. So
John Maxwell was sharing a little bit about having multiple streams of passive income, and like that's his goal. I think someone said they had,
right.
I don't remember. 7.
Most millionaires, just from the research I've done, speaking from a business perspective, most millionaires have at least 3 streams of income. At least 3 different streams of income coming in. So regardless of what your career is, I think network marketing is a great fit because it adds to what you're already doing. And so I think it's a good thing. It has 3 streams of income for most millionaires. And to put it in perspective, Warren Buffett has 93 streams of income, I think.
So on page 5,
yeah.
John Maxwell says his brother Larry taught him the value of having streams of income. He's a very successful businessman, and many years ago he sat me down to talk about my financial future. He shared that every person needs at least 3 streams of income, and one of those streams should be passive, or what some call residual income. That means that income doesn't require your continual direct involvement to earn money. And now today he has 7 streams of income, which 4 of them are passive.
Yeah. So, several different streams of income. Network marketing can be one of those streams of income. It can be a mainstream. It can be an additional stream. It really can be. You can really kind of tailor make it to whatever you want it to be, which is it's just the neatest thing.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And what I was planning to pop on and just share with you not just our perspective actually on you guys. I mean, there are 26 people on here that in my mind, you guys are world changers because you are studying. You know how rare it is? I think less than, was it 5%? Probably less than that. Less than 5%, we'll go with that, of people invest in personal growth. And I just want to say that you guys, all 26 of you, plus the ones that are going to listen to the recording, which I'm not broadcasting that, but you guys are difference makers. You guys are people that are energy expenders. You care about other people. You're initiators. You have drive, passion, hope, faith. Like this business takes character. This business takes a massive amount of faith. It's like that gap. Faith covers that gap between what you see in reality and what you're planning to achieve, right? And so the bigger your faith, the bigger you can grow in this. And so I just want to say, like, congratulations for being on this and for committing to the book study. And I will just give a little bit of vision casting here because I believe my mission now, because sometimes once you hit your ultimate goal, it's like, okay, well, now what? And I was just talking to someone on Marco Polo a little bit ago that my goal now is to help empower people to overcome. Because in this industry, in this business, the things that are holding you back in the business are the same things that are going to hold you back in life. And as we grow personally, and this is not me speaking from a pedestal of, oh, I've achieved it. This is me saying we're learning together, and I'm overcoming just as much as you all are, but we're doing it together. And I think that, to my mission now to help other people to just figure out what their strengths are and figure out what's holding them back so they can step in to all that God has for them. But I want to continue this personal growth curve through the fall. So as soon as this study is over on the, 7th, the following week, we're going to go into John Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership. So keep that on your radar because that will lead us. It's a 10-week study, and it will lead us all the way up to December 16th, which is right before Christmas. And then I would love to do Enneagram stuff, maybe starting the week of January 20th. So that's kind of my heart, my thought, because this is the thing. I was writing notes down while I was on my way home today. When we increase knowledge, we can increase our income. Because so much goes back to the way we think, and it goes back to personal growth. In my first year in Plexus, I didn't do book studies. I didn't do personal growth per se. I was kind of using what I had stored up in my 32 years of life up to that point, because I was just simply working my business. I didn't have an hour necessarily to pop on a call and invest in personal growth. But I know that you guys will benefit greatly. I will benefit greatly by prioritizing that hour and doing the things. And we learn personal growth by doing this business. So hopefully popping on this hour and investing the time here will pay you dividends in your business, because you're going to enlarge your thinking. You're going to enlarge your knowledge. Guys, I had no clue about network marketing. I read my first book when I was senior gold, and that was Eric Worre. What's his book?
GoPro.
Mm-hmm. And that was my first network marketing book. But it helps to have a bird's eye view of like what this industry is, what it's about, like what you're a part of. But when we have big belief, that is what fuels action. If you don't have the belief in yourself that you can do it, you're not going to go anywhere, right? And I think that is like, we got to get it in our belly. We got to get it in our gut, and knowing that. And in terms of freedom, because he talks about having freedom, like I personally want what we have for y'all. Like I know I've seen so many of your whys, and just like wanting financial freedom, or wanting to be able to give lavishly, tithe 90% of your income instead of 10% of your income, like having that kind of mindset about money, having that kind of stewardship, it's a huge blessing. And so many of you guys are living the benefits of network marketing. As a gold, you're making, $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. Like that's life-changing. Remember when you couldn't wait to be a gold ambassador, or maybe you're on this call thinking that's my next goal. I think that's the beautiful thing, is like at every step of the way, we can have gratitude for where we're at and have motivation for where we want to go because of the opportunity here. Did you have something you want to
Yeah, I got to say something. I heard a scream outside, and last time I looked, one of my kids was dressed up, was trying to dress up as an Egyptian, and had drawn a beard on his face with markers. So I need to go. But before I go, there's a lot of bad things out there that people think of network marketing. And one of the encouragements I would give is that, there's a lot of people that might say, what's all wrong with network marketing. And some of that is true because of the companies they've observed. I would say to be good in network marketing, you have to have good products, which we have. You have to have a good compensation plan, which we have. And you have to have integrity, which we have. So we've got all those things covered. And even if people were to say something about what's wrong with network marketing, my encouragement to you would be just go out and be what's right about network marketing. And show people a different perspective. Just show people who you are and that you're not ashamed to be in this industry. So I got to go. Who knows what's going on outside?
Thanks, Ben. See you. I really track with that. And that was some of the notes that I had written down, is like, when we're value adders and when we're living an interesting life and we're loving people well, like we're going to attract people to us. We're going to attract the right people to us, actually. And it really disarms people when they see healthy individuals, self-confident, focused, driven, successful, engaging, loving people doing network marketing. And so like Bob Heilig is kind of the big guy helping to change the face of network marketing. And I think more and more people are understanding why people would choose it as a legit, income source, whether full-time, part-time, all that stuff. So if you guys had takeaways, I meant to say this in the beginning, shout it out in the chat thread. If you had particular takeaways from this introduction part, make sure you put it in the chat thread. But I think, we are this business. Like, let that sink in. And I just told my mom the other day, she was like, oh, so-and-so. And how are they? And I said, this business is so heavily connected to our own health. I said, we are this business. So our business is only as healthy as we are. And that actually kind of leads me into the growth section. I want to leave enough time for some chitter chatter, because I feel like that's where it's really valuable, when you guys can all share like what you took away from the chapter, or something that spoke to you. I feel like we pretty much covered my notes on the first section. I know he mentioned making a list of pros and cons. So if you're struggling in your mindset, like just trying to wrap your brain around like what you're a part of, make a list of pros and cons and look through. I think he gives some lists of those. He talks about character, about it making us a better person. And then I would just challenge you to really to put a list of pros and cons. And he has an exercise on page 15 to reflect on the 10 benefits of network marketing. So we can maybe chat about that in a minute. But if you guys want to put in the comments, like, what is your maybe number one benefit of network marketing, or a surprise that you've noticed that you didn't realize was going to be part of this? I know a lot of people start for products because they need it for their health, and then they get surprised, like, wow, there's personal growth, there's friendships, there's a level playing field in terms of, like, we can be as successful as we want. You do not have to come in with a particular skill set. You can, if you want it and you're willing to work for it, you can achieve it, you know? So in terms of the chapter on growth, I loved that he shared, it's on the first page of that page 18, where he says, my success in life is a result of my personal growth. As I have grown on the inside, my success has grown on the outside. And he says, grow yourself, grow your business. If you get bigger on the outside than the inside, your business will get smaller. If you're bigger on the inside than the outside, your business will become larger. And then he says, you cannot do what you do not know, and you cannot give what you do not have. This is page 18 if you are following along. So how do I avoid this? Get bigger on the inside by personally growing. And on October 5th, if you haven't marked your calendars yet, there's people coming from other states. Be here for that, because I know that's something that we're going to talk about, is growing personally, emotional maturity, you know, victim mindset versus overcomer mindset. Like, this business, it's right here for everyone to learn that. But I love, he basically said one of my favorite quotes, which is, you cannot impart what you don't possess. And I talked a little bit with myself. And as I was taking notes this morning, you know, I think we have to learn to lead ourselves first, because if we expect to lead a team, eventually we're going to have to tell them, like, what we did to get to where we are, right? Because then you have teammates that will want to do the same thing that you're doing. And so I think that the number one thing, and we talked about this in the Leaders Retreat Accountability Group, is really, like, we have to learn to lead ourselves first consistently. And that's really the key. It's the key in everything, isn't it? Like, whether we're teaching a kid to play the piano, or we're committed to working out every day, or we're committed to, you know, eating high protein, less carbs, and dropping some weight, right? I think it goes back to us being the example, because that is what gives us the platform. And as leaders and as, you know, inspirers of our team, and that was kind of a novel thought to me, when after I went diamond, I was just kind of like in this fog of, like, what just happened? Like, I said I want this, but, like, I have to get my brain wrapped around it. And then boom, the next month, Kevin's here to do the diamond documentary, and I'm just like I haven't really had time to, like, even process this whole thing. But Angie Thompson, who is a diamond south of here, she's in Effingham, about an hour south of here, and she's been a diamond for probably 7 or 8 years. And she told me, she's like, Megan, we get paid to inspire people. And side note, you don't have to be diamond to inspire people. You be the inspirer as a silver ambassador, because a silver ambassador turns into a gold ambassador, and a gold ambassador turns into a senior gold, you know, and so on and so forth. And so that was just like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, wow, okay, so I have to figure out how to inspire my team. I have to figure out, what am I doing to inspire myself and create momentum for myself, and wake up excited and enthusiastic for the things, and to be able to impart that to other people, right? And I wrote down holy curiosity, because, he talks about waking up excited, page 23. He talks about, or maybe he didn't talk about holy curiosity, but he did talk, and that's something that I wrote down, being a question asker, both to yourself, like, my whole journey, like, okay, how am I doing? You know, constantly asking myself questions, you know, why am I not where I want to go? How do I get there? So I kind of, like, created my own game plan and I, you know, figured out my own system and my own thing, because I was kind of, like, wholly curious. And I think that it's important to be that way with our people as well. If we're helping someone get started on the products, or we're helping them get started on the business, is to be a question asker. And that's going to help lead them to their own answers. And he talks about surrounding yourself with better people. It's so important. I would like you to look at page 20, because he talks about you're having a forward focus. And this was like another light bulb moment when he said, activity is not necessarily accomplishment. Focus on results, not tasks, because you're no longer getting paid simply to do things. And so I think that is such a mindset shift, because if you've always been employed and you always worked for someone else, it's almost a mindset shift of, okay, CEO here, I'm going to put on a different hat and figure out how to get results, right? Because we're not getting paid to just sit here and run on the hamster wheel, right? Or we're just putting in the time, because that doesn't really matter. What matters is, can we help people get started? Can we start making an income, right? So I thought that was so good. And he talks about focusing forward, and focus is so important. But he says, say no to the good so you can say yes to the best. And I've told people on my team before, you might be doing too much. Like, if you want to be successful with this, you can't be working 5 other jobs. Because I know what it was like for me. I mean, I view mom life and homeschooling like that's full. That's my full life. I can't be doing all this ministry at church and engaged in like a bunch of other things and performing on the weekends with my siblings and our music group. Like, I had to pare down my life so I could be very focused on a couple things, and then just be intentional with that. Okay, he does talk about comfort zones. I'll just say really quick, and this is kind of my current trump card, is if you aren't getting uncomfortable, you're going to be stuck. And like Jessica Heffley has always said, what are the things you're avoiding, resisting, or procrastinating on? Because those are the things that will get you unstuck, and that's the thing that you're not doing is probably the thing that you need to do to grow your business, right? And so I feel like it's been this constant, I got to do another scary thing. But it's good because your comfort zone is like this, and when you expand it just slightly, it gets just a little bigger. It's not going to like retract like you're having a baby. It's going to stay bigger, right? And so I think it's so important to be aware of that. Be aware of the comfort zone, and every time, like, it could be as simple as posting a selfie. Like, that's uncomfortable to me. I'll just admit it. I feel like it's kind of self. But what I have noticed, like with social media marketing, you kind of have to be your brand, right? My dad, he's in politics. What is he doing? He's selling himself, essentially. But you know what? People track with a face. They don't track with like a glass and a brochure. Like, that's so super salesy. And when I see other people sharing their face and what they're talking about, like, I don't think it's weird, but it felt, and sometimes even still feels a little bit like, but it's that comfort zone thing, So that's just one example. And the last thing I'll say really quick is failure. He talks about failure, and this is something that Carissa talked about on her call from the Align Retreat. If you haven't plugged into her Align for Success series, do it. I just posted it on the team page yesterday, but it's also on Team Plexus Provision. And if you cannot view that video, that probably means you're not a member of Jessica Heffley's team page. So just ask your sponsor to add you to that so you can see what I post on the team page. But she talked about failure. And she said, we must reframe our understanding of failure, because instead of viewing failure as an ending, we need to view it as a necessary part of learning. We don't bat an eye when our kids learn to walk, right? And they keep falling down. It's just part of the process. But when we're new at something, a lot of times we're like, I'm not good at that, so I'm just going to quit. Instead of viewing ourselves as, you know what, I'm an overcomer. I failed at that. My first video was awful. I said a bunch. I looked white as a ghost, and I need to up my mascara game or whatever, whatever it is, that's okay. And I would say that that's one of my strengths, is being willing to fail. I did Super Saturday last January, scared to death, because I am not, like, this isn't scary to me, but when I have to get up in front of people without notes, or have to like carry on a monologue or preach to people, that's uncomfortable to me. That's scary, because I feel like I do when I'm going to perform like piano or violin or viola. Like, oh my word, I hope I don't forget my music, right? It's the same thing. That's a comfort zone. I said yes because I want to be an example of doing the scary things for you guys, because I think it's like ongoing process. When we start saying no to the scary things, and we start accepting the excuse, basically, that, well, I don't want to fail anymore, we've stopped growing, right? Nobody who learns anything does so without failure. That should be encouraging. And this is kind of my short note of that, is my mantra: no failure. There's no failure. It's all learning. And it's something that I'm teaching my kids too. You didn't fail at that. You're learning. That's why you're doing math. Like, there would be no reason to be practicing your math facts today if you knew them already, right? And so I'm going to end my little part by sharing a little quote with you, little clip from my dad, because this is kind of his overarching theme. Like, he just preaches it, and he lives it. And that's to reject passivity. So kind of who cares, right? To reject passivity, to accept responsibility, and to lead courageously. Why? Or what will happen if we do that? He always adds at the end, and expect a greater reward. And so anyways, I'm going to just stop there. And I want some of you to unmute and share some top takeaways. You can share a quote from the book. You can, if you took some notes when you were reading it and something maybe that you want to share with your team, I would love to hear, and everyone else would love to hear what y'all have to say.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me, it was page 22, that you're out of your comfort zone. I loved when he said, a rubber band only becomes valuable when it's stretched. And I'm such a visual person. I was like, that is so true. Yeah, it's no good unless it's to hold something together, and it's stretched to do that. Stretch in the areas of your abilities and giftedness. Learn the business and attach your strengths to it. Stretch in the area of important choices, your attitudes, your priorities, your friends, and your self-discipline. That was really good for me.
Love that. Love. Okay, who else? Don't be scared.
I'll go. I really liked on page 20 when you talked about where our focus should be. Our focus is forward. So often if we get a kind of a scary no, or somebody said something yucky to us, we tend to dwell on it and relive it and think about it, instead of just closing the door to that and moving forward and keeping your focus going forward where we're headed, not backwards where we've been.
That's so profound, Molly, because I think it's easy to dwell in the past of like what was said, how I felt. Do you have a top tip or a thought in light of continuing to keep a forward focus and not be like pulled back by the head trash or the things that have been said and replaying those over in our mind?
A little bit, I always thought that, with my kids too, and in parenting, instead of just saying, don't do that, it helps to say something positive. So instead of saying stop doing something, I will just tell them what to do. And then by doing that action, they're obviously not doing the thing that we don't desire. So by filling your head with positive things, by envisioning positive scenarios, positive conversations, things like that, it helps to fill my head with good things instead of, because even that conscious thought of I'm not going to think about that bad thing, it's still there because you're thinking about what you don't want to think about. So it's really effective just to fill your head with good thoughts.
So disciplining our mind to think on the things that we want it to. And sometimes I think the best activity or the best resolution is to actually say it out loud. Sometimes you actually have to speak it out in order for your mind to like hear it and process and internalize that. Yeah, very true. Cassie loved the quote, how do you know when failure is your friend? When you value the lesson it teaches you. That's really good.
I like the part about on page 23 about waking up excited. It got me thinking, am I a momentum breaker, a taker, a faker, or a maker? And it really made me stop and think about how I influence my team, and we're having a little bit of trouble getting going. So, maybe if I was more excited, it would rub off on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how that can influence our own momentum. Like if we're our own momentum breaker, if we're saying negative things to ourselves, and then boom, it just stops there. Like there's no like forward motion. That's really good. I forgot about that section. It says on page 23 under the you wake up excited, people only want two things. Number one, make them feel part of something bigger than themselves. And number two, make them feel special. And he talks about giving recognition. And he talks about momentum. Momentum is like the tide. When the tide is up, all the boats rise. When the tide is down, all boats drop. And I will say momentum cures everything, right? And what creates momentum is activity. It's good. I mean, it's good to really take a peek at those momentum breakers, takers, fakers, or makers, and really have that reflection on like, where am I at? And that's one thing I wanted to mention. When I was in the shower this morning, I thought about revisiting Jessica's red dot analogy. The little red dot, like you're on a map at the mall, and like, where's your red dot? It's important, I think, as leaders to really figure out, okay, where's our red dot? Where am I? Okay, when it comes to momentum, where's my red dot? Am I on the breaker side, or am I on the maker or faker side? And I think really having that reflective look at ourselves and where we're at, it goes back to that. Our business is only as healthy as we are, right? So yeah, so good. Okay, who else? Who has something else? I know the chat's been going on too. Jacqueline likes the idea of capitalizing on your strengths and focusing on the positive outcome you want instead of the obstacles. Similar to the concept that what you focus on expands. That's so true. And I think someone else mentioned strengths. I think it's really important, if you're not sure what your strengths are, make it your mission this week to write down like your top 3 or 5 strengths. And if you're someone that really struggles with like seeing yourself in a positive light, ask some people around you what their perspective is. If you have adult kids, if you have a husband or a mentor or a parent that can kind of share with you like, okay, well, this is what I see in you. These are some of your big strengths. And then press into those. Like whatever strengths that you have, you'll be able to utilize those big time in this business. And that's the beautiful thing about team is like, we don't all have the same strengths. And so we complement each other and we learn from each other.
Megan, I like what you said about, sorry.
Go ahead, Melody.
Okay, sorry, Gretchen. Megan, I was just going to say I really appreciated what you touched on this, but also what John Maxwell says about failure is not a problem. Everybody fails, and it's a fact of life. And that, I think, is one of the biggest lessons that I've been learning the past couple years. Like, I think when I started Plexus, I had this framework of I was either going to do really well or I was going to fail, and it was going to be one or the other. And I didn't have a healthy mindset of realizing, like, just like anything else, it's going to take practice, and it's going to take doing it over and over and learning the skills. You're not just going to come into it like knowing what to do. I think I kind of somehow had that expectation of myself, like I should somehow know all the skills and be professional at it like right away. And instead, John Maxwell saying like none of us comes into our work or our business with every skill that we need. And like, what a beautiful thing to give yourself that like permission, I guess, or that space to grow and to learn. And you mentioned the 10 benefits of network marketing that he mentions on page 15. I couldn't type because I had Eden on my lap, but I just wanted to say that I think it's the last one. He says one benefit is increasing your influence. And I guess as a Christian, I don't know, that just really stands out to me because before Plexus, I wasn't really posting much on Facebook. I wasn't really thinking about adding value to people or adding encouragement, really, even is what it comes down to. It wasn't really on my radar, but since Plexus is so big on like relationships, and that is the bottom line of this, now that's on my radar, and that's a big deal to me in my social media presence. And I think that that's hugely expanded my sphere of influence, like it does for all of us, you know. So I just think that's a really, really good thing. So, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was so good. And I think that ties into, like with influence, it ties into branding too, because as you figure out what your strengths are and kind of what are the top 3 to 5 things that define your life, then you can add value in those spheres of influence, right? And that was something that I saw. It's like, you know what? Anything that puts us in connection with people is a good thing, because like you said, influence, and like for believers, like we're thinking like, how can I influence people for the gospel ultimately, right? And ministering to people, adding value to them, loving them, because it's a dark world. Was it Tammy and Angie on the team call that they were, you know, sharing what they learned from that Align retreat? And like, it's a dark world, and we got to be a beacon of light to people. And the healthier we are, the healthier we can help other people to be too, you know, in all the ways of health, not just, you know, one area. Do you also, Melody, do you think that the failure, like the overwhelming almost fear of failure, can really hit home if you're like really perfectionistic? Because I am. And so like that's super scary, because I don't want to like do it wrong or say it wrong. Yeah.
And a lot of that right? At least for me. Like I've realized that a lot of times when I'm afraid of doing something in Plexus, or, you know, I'm afraid of failing, that's just my pride. So anyway.
Good. Good stuff. Gretchen, were you going to pipe in?
Yeah, amen to all that. I loved those things on failure. And I think, you know, this is an ongoing thing, because yeah, our comfort zones keep expanding. We keep, you know, finding new areas that need to be stretched. Just love the perspective that he supplied for us. You know, failure means that I had enough faith to experiment. It means that I dared to try. Some of those things in those little boxes on page 25 and 26. I just appreciated his perspective in the way that he framed this for us, because it's absolutely true. And viewing failure is essential to getting anywhere, to learning. Was just, you know, piggybacking on what you were sharing, Debbie, about the momentum breakers, takers, and makers. I just found that to be a really good thing to reflect on. I'm guessing that probably most people who are on this call are not momentum breakers, at least not habitually. But I think as far as, you know, taking and faking, I think those are areas that we can drift in and out of at different times. So I found that to be a valuable thing to think on. And I was just really comforted when we got to the part about being out of your comfort zone, because I feel out of my comfort zone so much of the time. It's like, okay, yes, I must be in a good place. And then, wait, no idea what I'm doing. But really, aren't those the things that, you know, as a Christian, that encourage me to pray, that encourage me to press in, to lean on the Lord, to grow. When we get outside of our comfort zones, we know that we can't depend on ourselves and our own strengths. We know that we have need, and yeah, just really good character things there. So that's all.
Well, and I think sometimes the awareness, sometimes maybe you have someone on your team at some point, and they might fall under the category of momentum breaker. Like, I know my initial reaction often is just to be like, woo, yeah, what is why is this person saying this? And what in the world? But sometimes when I take a step back and just reflect, I'm like, and you can like kind of put them in a category of like, okay, they're acting as a momentum breaker. They're negative and they're doing so sometimes it helps just to have an awareness of like where people are at. Maybe you're not in that season or in that particular learning curve. But it's sometimes helpful just to be like, you know what, they have a lot of personal growth to do, and they have, they would kind of be in that momentum breaker or faker or taker category, just to help yourself have that kind of awareness too on where people are at. Did anyone write down in the back of the chapter on page 29?
I was going to say something.
Oh,
Megan.
sure. Yeah.
And I actually liked on page 26 and 27, and the others are growing, where he said, I quickly discovered that growth is a great separator between those who succeed and those who do not. And then on page 27, he says, I think we talked about it in the introduction, where he says, growth's highest reward is not what you get from it, but what you become because of it. You'll become bigger on the inside than you are on the outside. And the result is that you'll build yourself and your business because you thrive in a growing environment. And I know that since I've been doing Texas, it will be 2 years out, I have grown a lot. And I was looking at Cassie's comment. I've grown a lot, and I have a lot of newbies on my team, and I'm really helping them to understand that our focus is to help people feel better, instead of our focus is in making the money or the income. That just comes when you help people. And and under the people desires change, he talks about desperate changes, where he says people are looking to trade their pain in life for a purpose. Many people become a pod network marketing because they desire better life for themselves, whether it is to do with their health or finances. So I thought that was a great point there.
Can you just keep reading? Your voice is beautiful.
Thank
Love
you.
your accent.
Thank you.
So Jill brought up a good point. If you are struggling or have never considered what your strengths are, StrengthsFinder 2.0 by Tom Rath. It's a good book, and there's an online quiz. So that's a good thing to do. Okay, just as we wrap up, at the very end of the chapter, on page 29, it's an exercise that John Maxwell does when he is wanting to learn and grow. And so he uses this exercise, which is basically the acronym ACT. So A for apply, C for change, and T for teach. So curious if anyone wrote down anything on those lines. Did anyone write anything down on what you want to apply, what you need to change, or what you need to teach? Oh, Gretchen did. I mean, are you willing to share it?
Yeah, sure, I'll share. For applying, I was asking myself the positive question of how can I be a momentum maker, both for myself. I think that one's pretty obvious action, but also for my team. And then also just a note to reflect on the lessons. Sometimes I think I do this unconsciously, but yeah, to be reflecting, because that's where we switch failure from an enemy to a friend, is through the reflection, through the learning. To change was my focus from doing tasks to creating results. I'm a lot more comfortable with tasks, with checklists. So that really hit home, where he was talking about we're not paid to do tasks, we're paid to create results. So that's a personal challenge for myself. And then teach, going along with this whole failure thing, my grandpa always told us, which I find so interesting, that he was teaching these life lessons, just like these 8 and 10-year-old girls, but he said every no gets you closer to a yes. Love, love, love that thought of his. Oh, and then I just really appreciate, I want to model continual encouragement. I love what you said about how do you know if someone needs encouragement, if they're breathing. Because it's true, there have been times when I've looked at people on my team and I think, oh my goodness, they are just, I mean, they're doing amazing, and their strengths are different than mine, and they're just like, wow, on fire. And I talk to them and they need some encouragement and they're struggling in that area. So it's always, always, always a safe bet to guess that somebody needs encouragement. So that was my, so I want to not only, teach that, but we teach that by doing, by living it. I want to be a continual encourager.
Anyone else write something down for like your application? I should have thought that was so good. Okay, well, your assignment for for tonight or tomorrow is to write down and just kind of reflect after. I feel like sometimes it really helps to just hash it out in a small group like this, and then write down based on like what we chatted about, and to think through the ACT acronym and write some things down. And then I would just encourage you to like get with your sponsor or whoever you chat with, Plexus Sideline teammate, and share with them like the things that you're going to do to change, apply, and teach. And that was something that I wanted to say a little bit ago, is whatever you're learning here, teach it to someone. If that means you put in your chat thread, oh my word, guys, this really stuck out to me. Or put a quote in your team thread or on your team page, or put it on your Facebook wall. Sometimes I will revamp a post that I've posted on either on my team page or my Facebook wall for the opposite thing, so that I can just encourage people and share what you're learning. Put it in your stories. Hashtag Power5. Tag John Maxwell. I mean, who cares, right? I think when people see that we're learning and we're growing, like people want to be part of that. They're like, "Ooh, cool! Your team does book studies. Like that's cool." So I would just encourage you to share what you're learning with someone, with your team. And yeah, guys, I'm so excited. Thank you for popping on the call tonight. Tomorrow, next week's hostess is Melody Detweiler. So you can be looking forward to that. She will get the link up because we'll be out of town. And so she's going to be sharing on the next chapter. So for next week, just make sure that you read the next power number 2, and complete the questions at the end of the chapter there. And then I'll just share with you guys, because there's 2 things coming up on Thursday, and I'm not going to be here to plug in and to tag people and like remind everyone. There is a Relaunch Your Business event on the team page at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Melinda Nunakoven is going to open that up and share her story of how she relaunched herself in this past January. So make sure you pop on that. It's 30 minutes. And then Lisa Winters is hosting Happy Half Hour at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Happy Half Hour group. So plug your people into that. And then there'll be a week long of IPA challenges in that old Leaders Retreat accountability group. That's where we're going to post those challenges based off that Relaunch Your Business theme. So it's going to be good stuff. Even if you don't feel like you have to relaunch your business, it's good to be inspired and, have a little checklist of things to do. So everyone, thank you so much for popping on. I really appreciate all the value you bring to the table. It's beautiful. So you guys have a great, great night. Thanks for popping on. Looking forward to next week. Bye.